Hi viewers, good evening. So this is the first live stream FAQs on our channel Scientific Doctor. Before any viewer could comment or ask any questions, I think we'll go on to the most pertaining topic, that is COVID and COVID vaccines. Now, many viewers have this doubt whether COVID vaccines work, we should take COVID vaccines, are they really effective? We have to understand that COVID-19 is a new disease, is a dangerous disease. It's not a dangerous disease for 100% of individuals, for all those who are affected by it, but probably around 85% of people get better, get mild illness, but at least 10 to 15% get a significant illness, and roughly around 1.5 to 3% even succumb to it. Coming to the vaccines prepared for COVID, we have to understand that COVID vaccines have undergone the same processes which every vaccine goes through before it gets approved. But they have been shortened. The timelines have been shortened, and the approval process is made faster so that they are available soon. It doesn't mean that these vaccines have not undergone safety checks or the due process or the due diligence. They have all undergone the same processes which the regular vaccines go through. So, are these vaccines safe? Yes, definitely. As per the phase 1, phase 2 trials where the safety is studied, they are safe. What about the effectiveness? Yes, they have undergone also the efficacy trials or the phase 3 trials, but usually the other vaccines undergo a lot lengthier processes. These have not gone through such processes, but still they are the best bet available today in combating, in preventing against COVID disease. So some people have this notion that COVID vaccines have a slightly lower efficacy percentage, or they ask even after vaccine some people get the disease. Coming to vaccines, many people are saying good evening. Akalya Tendral, good evening ma'am. Mu is saying hi sir. Sunil Salal, hi to everybody. If you have any doubts, you can post it in the comment section. I'll try to answer them. Anyway, coming back to the COVID vaccines question. So are they effective? No, coming to any vaccine, a vaccine is considered effective if it prevents the serious or the severe forms of the disease or the death. Now, usually that is the endpoint which is measured. For COVID, the endpoint is death or severe disease requiring intensive care. A wonderful vaccine is one which can even prevent minor infection. But for majority of diseases, you may not have such an ideal vaccine. So what you have may not prevent infection, milder forms of it, but will prevent against severe disease as well as against deaths. That's the objective. In fact, almost all the vaccines, COVID vaccines which are approved in India and abroad have fulfilled this objective of preventing severe disease and death. So hence, whenever we think of it, we need to take whatever vaccine is available today instead of worrying over whether this vaccine is superior to that or this vaccine is only 70% effective. No, I usually say to my patients, getting a 0 mark is bad than getting 70. So you are not getting 100, at least 70 is better than 0. So even a 70% effective vaccine is always better than not taking a vaccine. So coming to the questions, Muiz VH has asked a question, sir, is that the screen brightness of mobile phones, TV, computer make our skin darker? Okay, definitely not. Coming to the skin darkness depending upon the lights, okay, ultraviolet rays have a definite effect on skin tanning. Now here again the complexion is not changing, but simply your skin cells are no expressing more color, so we call that as tanness. No, especially white people no go to take a sun bath and get tanned. So that's what is happening when you are exposed to sunlight. This is no initially at least is a reversible process. The rays from mobile phones or bright lights, no, these are not directly tan inducing unless it emits ultraviolet rays. Some of the brighter lights, no, the studio lights, arc lights, they may emit UV rays, but not your mobile phone, TV screens, which emit no, which are usually now presently due to only LEDs, so they don't emit ultraviolet rays that much. So the risk of getting tanned due to this is not there. We'll go on to the next question. My Sunil Salal has asked, my baby girl birth weight 2.5. Now she has 1 year, 5 months with 8.5 kg only. Any problem, sir? Please reply. So anyway, coming to this weight of the child, weight gain of the child, growth of the child, development of the child in general, we have to understand that it is a dynamic process. So it is an ongoing process. Now we can't have no a weight at one point of time, at a single point of time, and say whether it is low or not. So even though we can say as per the growth curves, but more important to realize is, so when the weight is growing steadily, so coming to the child's weight, Sunil Salal, sir, the weight is 2.5. Roughly we say the birth weight should have been tripled by 1 year. That means around 7.5, and in 5 months time another 1 kg. So that is a reasonable weight gain. But we have to understand a 2.5 kg baby will also grow, will also show catch-up growth. That is, the child will go on to grow like a 3 kg or a normal weight baby. So it will also show catch-up growth. So whether the baby was growing to the curve of around 9 kg per year or a 9 kg in 1 year weight and suddenly now has faltered, or the baby has been growing in this curve, will be known only if the previous weights are known. So we have to understand, we have to plot the children's weight, the growing children's weight each month on the growth curve. These growth curves will be present in your pediatricians vaccination cards, in your immunization charts. Usually these growth curves are also present, or they are widely available over the internet. The one most widely used, most widely relevant for Indian children will be the IAP growth charts, WHO IAP combined growth charts, which are present from 0, that is from birth till 18 years of age. You can plot the weight on these charts and see the curve. If the curve is a smooth one and it is growing, then it is not a problem. Absolutely, also your baby's birth weight was little lower on the lower side, so 8.5 kg should be fine. But just check whether the baby is growing every month to the tune of around 150 to 300 grams each month. So do I have to worry that each month or each day we have to weigh the child to check the progress? No. After 1 year, if you weigh every 3 months, it is enough. Just see that there is a secular trend. There is a regular trend of weight gain. So coming to Mui's question again, so the skin darkening after light. So we are always worried about even the baby skin getting darker on exposure to light. We have to understand the complexion is mostly determined by genetics, slightly by environment. So genetics decide your skin color. So an Asian will have a different skin color than a European or a white man than a African or a African American. So the skin color is mostly determined by genetics. A little bit of it is also determined by environment, which is decided by this sunlight exposure. So sunlight exposure itself cannot decide an Indian cannot become a fair skin like a European skin. So you can be now slightly tanned or slightly less tanned, but an Indian born to an Indian mother living here cannot suddenly become fair skin like an European or an American person. So that is not possible. So the skin color is not determined solely by the environment alone. No, in fact, genetics plays a bigger role. So going back to our COVID vaccines and COVID vaccine discussion, many people also have this query of which vaccine is superior. So if I have 2 or 3 vaccines available, so can I have a choice which to take? So during this pandemic times, any vaccine is better than no vaccine. So at least get a vaccine which is available. Okay, some vaccines have this efficacy percentage of 75, others say 90%. We have to understand that these vaccines are tested in different populations in different timelines, and their endpoints are also different, designed in a different way. So you can't compare these efficacy endpoints together. So once you have wide availability, a longer duration of our experience, then probably you can have a head-to-head comparison. In present day, whatever vaccine is approved for use, whichever is available to you in the near future, kindly take them. Pratiksha has asked, sir, what should we do to get rid of migraine? Okay, so we have to understand migraine, commonly called as one-sided headache. No, it is always not one-sided. It can be also bilateral or both sides. So this migrainous headache has a multifactorial origin. Many of the diseases have multifactorial origin, meaning they don't have a single factor. No, COVID-19 disease has a single factor, that is the virus. So it is the single factor. So the infectious diseases usually are due to single factors. But even then, the prognosis, how you behave, will depend upon so many coexistent morbidities, other things. But anyway, infectious diseases have a single factor. Non-infectious diseases, non-communicable diseases, usually multifactorial. They have many known factors, some are unknown. So migraine even has a genetic component. Migraine has an environmental factor. Some people are sensitive to certain foodstuffs, but there is still an unknown component, something called as idiopathic. So you don't clearly understand why this migraine happens. So any multifactorial disease will not have a single strategy in treatment of migraine. So migraine usually is classified, is diagnosed after a thorough clinical examination, sometimes tests done to rule out other diseases. Even though there are no specific tests to diagnose migraine, you have tests to rule out certain other diseases. Only after ruling out certain diseases and fulfilling certain criteria, that this should last for these many hours, this should be episodic, there should be some aura preceding this, there should be associated gastrointestinal symptoms like nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain. So all these symptoms are there. So then they will classify migraine. So based on this, migraine needs to be classified and staged. So at what stage it is? Based on that, you will be given treatment. For a milder degree of migraine, you may be just given painkillers. Even painkillers, very simple painkillers like paracetamol, just to get rid of these episodes. Only if it is very severe, you may require specific anti-migraine drugs like ergot alkaloids. So these are drugs which have potential side effects, so needs to be taken only after prescription by your physician. But anyway, these ergot alkaloids are specific anti-migraine drugs. There are other co-treatments available for migraine. With this, you can get better, but we have to make the diagnosis first. So most often, these diagnoses are made by ourselves without undergoing the due process. The due process is that we have to rule out certain disorders. For ruling out certain disorders, you might require even you might even require scans like MRI. Before that, you can't do. Okay, so after doing all that, after ruling out other sinister causes, you have to classify migraine. Then you will be given drugs. Moise has asked again on how to prevent dark spots on the face. Dark spots, specifically on the face can be due to multiple reasons. Most common reasons are healed acne, acne which you get during adolescence and adulthood. So this causes, on healing, can cause dark spots. Dark spots can also occur due to certain other conditions post pregnancy or during pregnancy called melasma, due to skin conditions or due to sun exposure. So there can be multiple reasons for dark spots. How to prevent? No, due to acne, no, general treatment of acne or general prevention of acne will be like, keeping your skin hydrated, so good amount of water, frequent cleaning of your face with clean cold water, clean normal water, so you should not use hot water, keeping your sweat glands pores open. So acne has three factors. So it has bacteria, it has the oil or the sebum, and three, the hormones. You can't change the hormones, but you can change the other two by keeping it clean but not keeping it the closed. Usually the dark spots in acne occur after scarring and healing. So if we want to prevent the scarring and healing from happening, for that you need to clean your face with normal water and have a tepid sponging frequently. Don't allow them to get blocked, these pores to get blocked, and you should not pick on them. If you pick on them, the inflammation will be more, the scars will be more, and you will have even more dark spots. Dinesh is saying hi. So if you have any questions, you can post it in the comments. I'll try to answer them. Sunil Salal says, please read my message. I think I have read your message. So if you are not listening, or your internet was dodgy or was any problem, you can watch this video. Once this live stream is over, I will in fact this video will be uploaded onto the YouTube. You can again watch it on YouTube. So I have answered your query. Coming back to the question of COVID vaccines. So many people have this notion that COVID vaccines cause a lot of side effects. We read in newspapers that this causes side effects, especially this risk of clotting associated with COVID vaccines. So we have to understand about COVID vaccines and the clotting risk. In fact, the clotting risk, one of the biggest risk factors today is the COVID disease, not the vaccine. COVID disease. COVID disease causes these clotting problems to the tune of around 16 to 17%, meaning around 1 in 5 to 6 people get affected because of these clotting problems. So these clotting problems happen due to COVID disease itself, and also due to even smoking. So 1 in 200 get clotting problems due to smoking. The risk with COVID vaccines is roughly around 1 in 1 lakh to 1 in 10 lakhs, 1 in a million. So the risk is very, very small, very, very minuscule. The risk of contracting COVID is much higher, and the clotting associated with COVID is even much higher. Okay, if you don't get a vaccine, probability of getting COVID disease will be like 10%, and the probability within that will be 1/6 of it. So if you calculate that, the risk is even much more if you don't put the vaccine. So kindly vaccinate without worrying about the risk associated with vaccines. Ashish Manji has asked a question. So I can't read Hindi, so that is difficult. So I'm skipping this question. If you can kindly ask the question in English, I'll be able to answer this. Dinesh Kumar has asked a question. After phototherapy treatment, bilirubin, jaundice level increases or decreases? Obviously, it decreases. After phototherapy, it decreases. But once you take the baby off phototherapy, phototherapy is a treatment given for newborn jaundice, neonatal jaundice. Neonatal jaundice is an universal occurrence. So that is, if we take adult standards, every baby born will have a bilirubin of more than 1.2, which is the cutoff for adults. So this much of jaundice will be present for all newborns. But only when it is above a certain level, then you need to worry, and then you need to start treating. So normal jaundice, normal newborn jaundice is called physiological jaundice or a normal jaundice. So once it is above a certain threshold, you put the child on phototherapy. If it is much higher than that, there are other treatments like replacement of blood called as exchange transfusion. This phototherapy treatment definitely reduces the newborn jaundice levels. But we have to understand, once the baby is off phototherapy, so you put the baby, because the jaundice is at a much higher level, it goes down, and then you take the baby off phototherapy. But after taking the baby off phototherapy, it again goes up, but usually it doesn't go up to very high levels. So there is no need to put the baby back again on phototherapy usually, but we have to follow the baby up. So we have to consistently see the baby whether the jaundice is increasing again, and again if it is in a pathological or a disease levels, we have to see the levels. Definitely after phototherapy it decreases. After you take the baby off phototherapy, come to no, without phototherapy the levels might slightly increase, but that is not usually a problem. So coming back to the discussion on COVID vaccines, people have this again notion of COVID vaccines causing deaths. No, somebody XYZ took COVID vaccine and he died subsequently. So this is usually not heard in the first person account. Usually second person, third person, heard as a WhatsApp rumor or a WhatsApp forward. So we have to understand that not all of these forwards are true. Okay, even if they are true, we have to understand daily deaths are happening without or with COVID vaccine. So if you take, for example, a population of a district, 15 lakh population of a district, the daily deaths happening is around 200 deaths happening in that district due to various causes. If I decide to vaccinate 10% of this district, 1.5 lakhs in a single day, I have a massive drive, I am vaccinating 1.5 lakh people on a single day. What will be the proportion of deaths happening in that 1.5 lakh? Now, normally 200 deaths are happening. If 10% is 20, so even in those vaccinated people, there will be 20 deaths happening, regardless of whether the vaccine is given or not. So it is not due to the vaccine, but it is a coincidental event. This is what happens generally during these pulse polio campaigns. Pulse polio campaigns are done for all under 5 children, which is roughly, if the population is around 135 crores, Indian population is around 138 crores, under 5 population will be around 10 crores. All of these children are vaccinated within 1 or 2 days. So you will have normally deaths, diseases, diarrheas happening after this, but this is usually attributed to the pulse polio or the polio drops which are given. Similar is the thing, most of the deaths happening after vaccination, usually they are not causal, that is not the direct cause, but even then they are rigorously examined, investigated whether these deaths are happening because of the direct effects of vaccine. So every vaccine serious adverse event, including deaths, are monitored, are investigated as to the causality, whether the vaccine is directly causal to this bad event happening, and then a report is given out. None of these vaccines have been reported as a direct causal agent. Yes, they have caused adverse events. Because of the clot, even deaths have happened. As I said, the clot risk itself is around 1 in 10 lakhs, that is 1 in a million. So the deaths happening is even lesser or even rarer. Considering the risk due to COVID, this is a very, very, very minuscule or a very small risk. So considering this, there is no other better choice. So we have to take the vaccine, even though the risk of death itself is very, 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 very minuscule. You can say practically next to nil, but still, if theoretically this question is asked, so that is the answer. Coming to COVID vaccines causing unknown problems. Now, any vaccine, there are unscientific people who will say this vaccine causes sterility, this vaccine can induce COVID disease itself. Because of the vaccine, I have tested positive. Now, we have to understand that COVID vaccines, the available vaccines in India are of 2 types. One is a killed vaccine. So, there is no live virus in it. The other is a nucleic acid vaccine, where the in it also there is no, the virus itself is not present inside. The virus's nucleic acid, genetic material, is present into the another virus called adenovirus. Then that virus is injected. So among the two vaccines, in both the vaccines, there is no live COVID virus inside the vaccine. So it cannot cause COVID disease and it cannot cause COVID positivity. So in RT-PCR, we are seeing different antigens in COVID vaccine individuals. For the reaction, for the reactogenicity, we are seeing different antibodies. So because of the vaccine, you cannot get COVID positive or the disease itself because of the vaccine. So you need not worry. Okay, no. A person has taken a vaccine 2 days ago. The person became COVID positive today. Is it due to the vaccine? No, the virus itself is rampant. It is in the pandemic stage. It is spreading throughout. We could have got the virus 2 days ago. The incubation period before it manifests is around 3 to 5 days. Normally it can last as long as 2 weeks. So within that incubation period, probably that person has taken the vaccine, and because of that, after 2 days he has turned positive. It is not because of the vaccine itself. Because the vaccine, there is no live virus in the vaccine to cause the disease. Aisha SA has asked a question. Good evening, sir. I am doing COVID duty and I am the feeding mother of 15 months baby, not yet vaccinated. I am afraid about feeding my baby. Is any possibility to my baby exposure via me? All the frontline workers now have this risk and worry regarding their children, and especially feeding mothers. So they are worried about not giving the benefits of the breast milk to the baby, whereas on the other side they are worried about the risk of infecting their babies. It is not through feeding. Okay, so theoretically we haven't seen about the risk of breastfeeding and the viral particles. So whatever research today available, the virus does not get transmitted through breast milk, or the evidence is not very clear. So you can continue to breastfeed the baby. So I am not yet vaccinated. The vaccination approval has now come for lactating mothers. We have to understand, even before. So when the vaccines were earlier approved for older individuals, why the vaccine was not approved for use in lactating women and pregnant mother? It is not due to any problem or a side effect. It is due to the nature that this test results, the study results, have not yet been approved. So it was initially done in non-pregnant, non-lactating women. So the results were not available. So that's why this recommendation was not there. Now that the results are available, now it is approved for use in lactating women. So kindly take the vaccine. So that's the first prevention that is possible. Second is, if you are exposed to the COVID patients and you are in quarantine, but you need to feed the baby, or you are doing some COVID duty, coming back and feeding the baby, you can still continue to feed the baby. What I will advise is regularly how you disinfect yourself. After you come back from duty, you disinfect yourself, take a bath, get rid of your clothes, do all that, wash your hands, then you can come and feed the baby. The risk is whether we have got the virus inside our body. To decrease that risk, the only way is personal protection. Using a proper mask. If you are on frontline duty, I'll advise N95 mask or face, and associated with that even face shield. And if the risk is very high, you need to have PPE, the full personal protection equipment kit. So that's what will prevent you from getting infected and subsequently giving to the baby. It is not through breast milk. Ashish Manji has probably typed the question in English now. My mother's blood contains a small amount of threonine, which causes her to occasionally feel a burning sensation in the body. Her treatment is undergoing. My question is, what kind of food should be probably avoided? Okay, what kind of food to be given to her that does not harm her? I don't understand the question. Threonine is a normal amino acid. So proteins are composed of amino acids. This proteins normal in essential amino acids. There are around 20 essential amino acids. Among one of them is threonine. So threonine in blood is not an abnormal reaction. That is normal. So do you have understood something wrongly? So that's the question. Many of the time, no, to simplify, no, to make the matter dumb, probably no doctors sometimes no make it very simple, but it is not close to the science. So you may not understand the true science. So I am dumbing down. So some amount of threonine is present. If there is a metabolic defect causing some accumulation of threonine because of an enzyme, no, subsequent to it. So these amino acids you say about mother, usually these inborn errors of metabolism occur in babies. The bad effects also occur in babies. So mother, an older person having threonine. Threonine is a normal amino acid. So I can't get the question. Threonine is present in all protein foods, all protein based foods. So proteins are present even in rice or wheat and all your pulses, all your non-vegetarian foods, milk. So it is present everywhere. So I don't understand the question that what condition your mother has. The presence of threonine itself is not harmful. The threonine is an essential amino acid. Muiz VH has asked her how to increase glutathione levels. So many people read about these things. Glutathione is present in the body, which has strong antioxidant effects. It fights so many things. And so how to increase it? No, you can't increase it by specifically taking something. No, many patients come to me and ask, how to increase the immunity specifically. So how to increase the COVID-19 immunity specifically. No, you can't do all this. So what can be done is you can have a balanced diet. By having a balanced diet, all your body metabolic, every function will function to the optimal level. So how you can take a balanced diet? In fact, I have made a separate video. You can search balanced diet in channel and you can search for it. You can see that. But if you want to take a balanced diet, we have to understand we have to take a carbohydrate rich portion, protein rich portion, fats also in reasonable amount, and vitamins and minerals. So we have to visualize our plate like every day, and each feed's plate, whether it contains all these food components. So how can you say? Cereals usually give off carbohydrates. Now they are the richest source of carbohydrates. So equal to the amount of cereals you take vegetables, which give you vitamins and minerals. In the remaining 1/3 portion, you get non-vegetarian or proteins, fats, sugars, oils. That all the remaining should be in the remaining 1/3. If you have a division of your plate like this is called my plate model, then it will be sort of a balanced diet. If you have a balanced diet, you can have all these metabolic processes functioning normally. Mudassir Ahmed has asked a question. My sister has fever for 1 day and then headache, neck pain, all symptoms gone. Now she tells that she feels only heavy smell. What to do now? Her SpO2 was 97. Leave the botheration with this SpO2. So we have to understand that any fever during pandemic times, especially in a country where it is widely prevalent, where it is now widely spreading. So we are in a phase where the cases are increasing or in the plateau, have not gone down, or is it very low. So in our country, in India, we have to say any fever during the pandemic times should be considered as COVID and treated. So kindly visit the doctor, probably get tested, because not only the fever is a problem in COVID, you can have post-COVID complications. You have to be properly observed. So kindly visit a physician, probably do a test for COVID also. Aisha SA has explained, thank you sir, I'm a staff nurse using universal precautions in my duty, PPE, N95 face shield. So which vaccine may help me, Covishield or Covaxin or any? Both will be helpful, ma. What the results are out already regarding lactating women. It is available for Covishield. Covaxin also you can take, but the published results for lactating women specifically are available for Covishield, and WHO has approved Covishield for lactating women. So probably for that you can take Covishield, and Covaxin is also, as I said, equally good. There is not a problem. You can take. The results are not yet out for specifically lactating women. So that's the small caveat regarding Covaxin. You can take Covishield, for which the results for lactating women are out. Dillu Tamil, I think, has asked my Tamiz. My father-in-law is affected by hemiparesis. He is taking blood thinners. Please tell for vaccination which vaccine is best. I think he is asking regarding the COVID vaccine again. So the risk of clotting is already has been established with Covishield. The risk is very small, as I said, 1 in a million. But if your child, if your father-in-law is taking already blood thinners, they have to be off blood thinners for at least 2 to 3 days before you can take a vaccine. So you have to do that for Covishield. Covaxin, till today there is no published risk regarding this blood thinner use. Still, the prudent scientific explanation will be to consult with your physician, the doctor, and say whether you can be taken off blood thinners for a specific mentioned time, like 2 or 3 days, and then you can proceed on to the vaccination. I think we'll wind up our first live session with this question. Aisha SA and Ashish Manji have said thank you, ma. So we will keep these live sessions monthly, probably, if you think these were useful, and you correspondingly leave a like, share this video, or subscribe to this channel. YouTube works only like that, via share, like, dislike, shares, via these measures only. So if sufficient people like it, we will keep these live FAQ sessions monthly. Hopefully we will meet in the next session. Till then, bye. Thank you once again.